Something from the past may knock on your door today, Pisces, and it will not announce itself politely. Maybe it is a memory you thought you had closed. Maybe it is a feeling in your chest when a certain name crosses your mind. The tricky part is that today's sky does not just stir this up for drama. It is asking you to look at something you have been avoiding, especially around who you trust and what you are willing to give away in the name of closeness. And here is the twist most people miss. What feels like an old wound resurfacing may actually be today's chart-clearing space for something more honest. Stay with this, because the next few minutes explain exactly why this is happening, what it means for your relationships and your sense of security, and what to do the moment it shows up, the bigger picture. Two very different energies are moving through your sky today, and understanding both is the key to understanding your entire day. From the Western evolutionary perspective, Uranus is currently transiting Gemini, and for you, Pisces, this touches your family circle and household foundations. Uranus does not knock gently. It tends to reveal truths about home life that may feel sudden, even destabilizing, but the direction it is pushing you toward is almost always freedom. Not freedom from the people you love, necessarily, but freedom from patterns that no longer fit who you are becoming. This is a longer transit, unfolding over a year or two, so today is not the whole story. Today is one page of it. Meanwhile, in Vedic or sidereal tradition, the moon is moving through Virgo, and this brings something your Gemini-stirred household energy badly needs: mental clarity. Where Uranus disrupts, the Virgo moon organizes. You may notice confusion you have been sitting with for days suddenly resolving itself, almost like fog lifting off a familiar road you have driven 100 times. Astrologers note this is an excellent window for sorting through personal matters that need a clear head rather than an emotional one. But the day does not stop there. Later, from the Western tropical lens, the moon conjoins Venus in Libra, activating your 8th house of intimacy, shared resources, and emotional vulnerability. This is soft, warm energy, the kind that makes real conversations about money, desire, or fear feel possible instead of frightening. Then the mood shifts again. The moon moves into opposition with Saturn, sitting in your 2nd house of self-worth. This is where softness meets structure. Where the 8th house says open up, the 2nd house asks you to know your own limits first. Here is where two traditions, looking at completely different planets, end up describing the same emotional truth. The evolutionary lens sees Uranus rattling your household to push you toward independence. The tropical lens sees Venus and Saturn negotiating between generosity and self-preservation. Different planets, different houses, same underlying question. How much of yourself can you give away before you lose track of who you are? Love. This is where today's sky gets personal. If you are in a relationship, that Moon-Venus conjunction in your 8th house make today feel unusually close. Conversations that normally stay surface level about money, fears, or what you actually need from each other suddenly feel possible. You might find yourself saying something you have held back for weeks. Your partner might do the same. There is a real tenderness available right now, the kind where two people stop performing and start being honest. But here is the unresolved question worth sitting with. What happens when that closeness starts asking more of you than you meant to give? That is exactly what the later Saturn opposition brings into focus. You may notice yourself wanting to offer more, financially, emotionally, or with your time, simply because the moment feels intimate and you do not want to break the spell. This is where the evolutionary and tropical perspectives quietly agree again. Real trust is not built by disappearing into someone else's needs. It is built by staying visible while still showing up for them. If you are single, this same 8th house energy can awaken a craving for depth rather than casual connection. You might find yourself less interested in small talk and more drawn to someone who feels emotionally substantial. A relationship decision may be approaching for those already partnered, something that has been circling for a while, finally asking to be named. The guidance here is simple, but not always easy. Before you offer something in a tender moment, ask yourself what you can actually sustain tomorrow, not just what feels right tonight. Say what you want to give. Then let the rest remain yours. Career. That same tension between openness and self-protection follows you into your work today. The instability stirring your home life through Uranus and Gemini does not stay contained to family matters. It often bleeds into how confident you feel walking into a meeting or making a decision under pressure. You may have noticed a low hum of distraction lately, thoughts drifting toward home even when you are supposed to be focused elsewhere. Tay asks you to compartmentalize a little more deliberately than usual, especially if something important is on your calendar. Important meetings deserve your full presence, even if part of you is still processing something from home. Interestingly, the same Virgo moon clarity that is untangling your personal life can be borrowed here too. If your thoughts have felt scattered, this is a strong window to sit down, prioritize, and see the professional picture more clearly than you have in days. Money. What begins as an emotional question about intimacy quietly becomes a financial one too. That second house Saturn opposition is not only about self-worth in the abstract. It is about your actual resources, your actual limits, and how honestly you are tracking them. You might notice an unexpected expense showing up today, something you did not plan for. The reassuring part is that your overall financial footing remains steady, even if this one moment feels bumpy. The deeper lesson connects directly back to what showed up in your relationships. If you are the kind of person who gives generously when things feel emotionally warm, today is a gentle reminder to separate generosity from obligation. You can offer support to someone you care about without quietly draining your own reserves. Naming a number, a boundary, or a limit out loud is not coldness. It is what makes the warmth sustainable. Health. Here is the moment worth slowing down for, because this is where everything today has been building toward. Saturday's supportive connection between Mercury and Jupiter has been quietly restoring your relationship with your own body, and that influence is still lingering into today. You do not need an elaborate wellness overhaul right now. You need small, repeatable actions. Your favorite yoga class. A clean, simple meal instead of a complicated diet plan. Saying no to an obligation that would drain you rather than restore you. But here is the reframe almost nobody sees coming. All the emotional intensity from your household, your relationships, and your finances today is not separate from your physical state. It is connected to it. That resurfacing memory, that pull toward oversharing in intimate moments, that low hum of distraction at work, it is all asking your nervous system to work overtime. If your blood pressure has been a concern before, today is worth paying gentle attention to it, not out of fear, but because your body has been quietly absorbing everything your mind has been processing. Picture it like a kettle that has been simmering quietly all day. Nothing dramatic has happened yet, but the heat has been building. The Virgo moon's clarity is your invitation to notice this before it boils over, not after. If ongoing emotional weight feels like more than you can sort through alone, especially anything resurfacing from your past, talking it through with a therapist can help you actually metabolize it instead of just carrying it. That is not weakness. That is the same second house wisdom applied to your inner life instead of your bank account, knowing your limits and asking for support before you are depleted. Home and family. This brings us back to where today's story started, your household. Uranus, moving through Gemini, has likely been surfacing truths about your family circle or living situation that feel uncomfortable, even shocking at moments. Maybe a conversation revealed something you did not expect. Maybe your living arrangement suddenly feels wrong in a way it did not before. This can feel destabilizing, but it is worth remembering that Uranus rarely disrupts without a reason. It is usually clearing a path toward independence. Even when that path does not look like what you originally imagined, you do not have to burn everything down to honor this shift. Not everything about your current family life or home needs to be discarded. Some of it is worth carrying forward, like packing only the things that still fit before a move. The goal today, especially with that Virgo moon clarity available, is sorting out which pieces of your home life are genuinely outdated and which ones are simply familiar and still good. Travel and spirit. There is a reason travel keeps surfacing as a theme worth considering, even if only in daydream form today. Something in you may be craving distance, a change of scenery, a literal reminder that your life is bigger than the four walls currently feeling complicated. If a trip has been on your mind, even somewhere as simple as Niagara Falls, it might be worth actually starting to plan it, rather than letting it stay a vague someday thought. Spiritually, this entire day mirrors a single image. Think of a house mid-renovation, walls half torn down, dust still settling, but sunlight now reaching a room that used to stay dark. That is what Uranus is doing to your foundations right now. It is uncomfortable mid-process, but the light getting in is the whole point. Within a year or two, most people experiencing this kind of shift look back and recognize it as necessary, even overdue. Lucky signs. Your sharpest thinking today arrives between 5:30 and 6:30 in the evening, making that window especially useful for decisions you have been putting off. Wearing something in blue is considered a small, safe way to align yourself with today's calmer, clearer energy. Libra energy, whether in a person or simply in the mood of your day, tends to feel unusually harmonious right now, so conversations with Libra-influenced people or during Libra-flavored moments may flow more easily than expected. Tay's guidance. So here is where all of this actually lands. That old feeling that resurfaced earlier today was not random. It was your chart clearing space in your home, your relationships, and your own sense of self-worth for something more honest than what came before. The invitation today is not to fix everything at once. It is to notice where you are being asked to open up and to do it without losing track of your own limits, whether that is emotional, financial, or physical. Let today be less about controlling the outcome and more about staying present as it unfolds. Have the honest conversation, but name what you can actually sustain. Feel the closeness, but keep one hand on your own boundaries. Notice the tension in your body and treat it as information rather than an inconvenience. If you do that, this day that started with something old resurfacing may end with you feeling, for the first time in a while, genuinely clear about where you stand.